Hello and welcome to the Suffolk Coastal Path 50k fly-through video. My name is Chris, I am the race director for the event, and I've actually just spent a few days down in Suffolk finalising the last few bits and pieces for the route, so everything's very fresh in my mind. So I'm just going to talk through the route, highlight a few things that would be useful for you to know ahead of getting there on race day, which is September the 10th, so it's a Saturday morning. As you can see, and I'm sure you know, it's a linear route. So we start up in Lowestoft, up here in the north, and you run down the coastal path for 50 kilometres, arriving in Aldeburgh. It is, for the most part, I would say 95% on the coastal path, but we have made a few changes to aid navigation and safety and to stay out the way of busy sort of areas. So for the most part, it is on the official signed coastal path, but there are times that it is not, and I'll walk through some of that now. On the day, the whole route is going to be signposted with our orange signs and orange ribbons, and that is your primary way to sort of get around the course, but we are asking people as well to download the GPS and put it on their Garmin or Sunto, whatever you've got. And if you don't have a running watch, then just make sure that you have the link to the digital kind of map on your phone, just in case you find yourself off course. As you can see, there's plenty of turnings and lefts and rights, although a lot of it is straight. You do come inland and things like that at different points. We do also give out a map at registration, an OS map with the route marks on it, for those of you who like to have something in paper. First thing to say is how you will getting there, and a lot of you are going to be taking the coach that we are putting on. If you have not bought yourself a ticket for that coach and you want to use it, you need to buy that on our website before race day. There are only limited seats available, so we need to make sure that you buy that before so we can allocate you a seat. The finish line is here in Aldeburgh. The coach pickup is at Thorpe Road car park, which is this large car park here, and that's where I would suggest you park for the day. It costs £4 to park there, and you can organise that through the Ringo app. So parking there at 6:45 and making sure you're there in a good amount of time, because the coach will be leaving at 7 o'clock sharp, and it takes 45 minutes to drive to the start just south of Lowestoft. So if we go to there now, and I'll show you that we have just here, Pakefield Road car park. This is where the coach will drop you off. You walk through here and up to the start line. You can also park here for the day if you are driving to the start and leaving your car there for the day. Again, it's the same cost. It's all Ringo car parks around here. So again, it's via the Ringo app, and it's £4 to park there. About a 5-minute walk to the start area. And if I just go into sort of 3D mode here, you'll see that these huts, this is our registration area. So these huts will be open, we'll be in there issuing your race numbers from 7 a.m. And there are some public toilets, men on the right, women on the left, and you can access here by the staircase just here or via the promenade. So you'll see that it is at street level. At present, there's a coffee shop here, but it isn't open until 8:30, so that will not be open. But we are planning to offer tea and coffee, just simple tea and coffee, probably cafetiere or even, excuse me, or even instant. But there will be some hot drinks available, so while you're waiting around, you can help yourself to that. So let's get to the route. There's toilets, by the way, just here as well. These ones are 24 hours. These are open about 7. In the off chance that the person opening doesn't open these at 7, they open them slightly later. There are these ones here. There's also some down here. So there's plenty of things around. I will recap all of this, exactly what the plan is, in the briefing video before the race. I'm not going to go through each sort of kilometre in detail, but I'm just going to give you the sort of overview. And the overview really for the start is that it's all very straightforward on this kind of lower promenade path at the beginning. This is all quite wide and it's all tarmacked at this point. So you're actually staying on the tarmac as you go through Pakefield. Now, one problem if you like, with the route is as you approach Pakefield Cliffs, which are just here. There used to be a footpath going along these cliffs, but those cliffs has become quite unstable and dangerous. That's been shut now for 2 years. And we don't want to send you onto the beach because the sand here is very soft. So the coastal path was diverted and it goes right here. And it's not the most scenic part of the race, so I apologise for that, but it is the only way to get you guys back onto the coastal path, because you actually just on this roundabout, you pass a McDonald's, so one and a bit k's in, you're passing a McDonald's, and you're actually running along the pavement for a little while here. So you're running along this road, I think this is the A12, you're running along here on the pavement, and I would stress we do not have road closures for this race, so you will have to be on the pavement. There is going to be 150 runners maximum, so you will spread out and there will be plenty of room for people to run without running into the road. But this is a fast road, so there's no need to run in the road, and just be super safe. So you're on there for a while until you get to the Heathland Beach Park, where there'll be a marshal here pushing you back inland and onto trails. And then you're meandering your way through these trails, and actually you just here, just really nice, you come down some steps and you come onto the beach. But this section, as you can see, it's very inland and the sand is very firm here, so it's not unpleasant to run on at all. So you're onto this bit, not for very long, and then you're back onto a promenade. And this takes you with the run-in all the way to Kesselland, where we have our first checkpoint, which is it's quite early on, to be honest. It would probably be better a few kilometres down the path, but actually it just isn't convenient to have a checkpoint anywhere else. So 6.87 kilometres in, you hit your first checkpoint, and you don't now have another checkpoint until 21.8. So between these two checkpoints, you have 15 kilometres without aid. So I would suggest maybe a good plan would be just to remember to drink some of your water supplies, or at least top up your water supplies at CP1, knowing that you've got 15k ahead. The checkpoint is in these little gardens just here. We don't have toilets ourselves, but conveniently the public toilets for Kesselland is right there. So there's toilets available for those of you who have had too much coffee before the start. That is your first pit stop. Leaving Kesselland, and we are continuing down the kind of tarmac promenade for a little bit, and then eventually it puts you just here onto the beach. And again, it's pleasant beach trails. It's more described, I would say, as dirt trails here than it is sandy trails. It's not too soft. It's very runnable. It's very hard, very firm. So I like this section, and it's, beautiful views. You're looking out to the sea at all times. And you're following this down until you get to the end of the footpath and you take a right. And this is a kind of a large inland section that goes through the Benneker Nature Reserve. And we don't join now the actual coastline until you get past checkpoint 2 and kind of onto the Southwold promenade. So there's not much to say on this point except for the fact that, okay, just here you're on dirt trails, but as you get out of Benacre, you do come onto country lanes. So this isn't the most scenic part, in the sense that a lot of this is very, very kind of, narrow, unused country lanes, very quiet. You're not going to be seeing traffic. Be very surprised if you really see any cars on this at all. They're really just access roads for the different buildings. There's the estate here, so you might have one or two every now and again, but other than that, you won't get much. Now, one thing to say here is as you get into this town of Cove Hythe, the coastal path actually, once you get to the end of this this trail here, does officially turn left. It goes up this road and then back down this road. Completely unnecessary. There's a nice trail that goes straight on here. So this is one of the points that we're taking you off the official path. So you turn right, left, and then go down that nice trail and then right again. So this may be one of the times you see there's a Suffolk Coastal Path sign that points you one way. Our signs are going to point you another way. Again, you're on a country lane into South Cove. This road is actually a bit busier, but there is a large bank, grass bank, that has a kind of a worn footpath in it from people using it down the years. So a very obvious way you're going to be here, but we have situated a marshal just on South Cove as you turn right opposite the church and you follow South Cove Lane to its end. This is a dead end. So this is all, again, it's still tarmac. So you've got a long section of tarmac here. And I think as the race generally progresses, you kind of start off with quite a lot of harder ground and it progresses into softer ground. So the kind of second half is predominantly dirt trails, whereas the first half is more promenade and tarmac and country lanes. I mean, shoe choice, I always prefer myself a trail shoe with some cushion, just so I've got that grip on the kind of uneven ground, but a road shoe would be completely fine at the same time for this race. Now, as you get to the end of South Cove Lane, you do then return to trail. I was just here recently, so this section here, the official coastal path, actually goes up here, around here. Sorry, I think it goes around here. Whichever was the official path, it was so unbelievably overgrown with stinging nettles, brambles, and it just looks like it just doesn't get used. I was last there in December and it was fine, but clearly it's not used enough in the summer to be maintained. So again, rather than going straight down here, you're going to be signed a slight diversion, which is on a much nicer trail, much more runnable trail. So this will be the second part. You're not on Suffolk Coastal Path, but it's only for a few hundred meters. And then making your way into Raydon. So Raydon is a little town that you approach from the north, and you're running down on the pavements here, and then you get to checkpoint 2, which is a village hall. Really nicely located here, because actually there's a road crossing that we're going to have a marshal at anyway, and we've decided actually what a great idea, let's have the checkpoint at the village hall. So you approach this checkpoint, we'll have some tables and things out just here, refreshment stop here. There are some loos in the village hall if you need to use them, and then crossing over that road and going down this nice trail that takes you all the way to the coastline. Quite narrow section, but it's not a very popular trail. There's not many people that use that. And then you kind of pop out into Southwold where, depending on the weather, it will be probably a busy area. So this is probably the busiest area of the trail for the entire day. As you come out, you come onto this car park, which actually this section of the car park is very rarely used, to be honest, only on the brightest of days. This bit will be busy, so you're just staying here. Marshall will just be here. You actually pass very close to another set of public toilets, so if you wanted to use those, then you could easily stop off there. We have a marshal just crossing you on this road, and then you're on this kind of main promenade. I love this promenade actually. You rise up a little bit, and you've got some lovely views. You can see quite a long way south. You're staying on that main path. It's a lovely pub just here called the Lord Nelson. Just past the Lord Nelson there. Do not stop off for a pint. We go inland kind of to get out of Southwold. And then as you get down to here, this is, I think, where it transitions really to sort of a busier area, more of a tarmac sort of race into, you're hitting now sites of scientific interest, a lot more nature, a lot more dirt trails. So as you get onto this trail, you follow that along until you get to the River Blythe, which you have to circumnavigate that by going up this. This is kind of like a little shipman's yard, if you like. So it's, there's lots of things to look at and people going about their business. You go across this bridge, being careful not to follow this trail, which is the Sandlands Walk. So you just go up and down that river. And this is Warburt's Wick just here. So Warburt's Wick is a really nice kind of marshland area. Can get a little bit windy here. As you sort of approach Warburt Wick, there's a few different paths you can go. There's actually 2 footbridges. We're taking this left footbridge. So a marshal will probably be situated around about here, pushing you down there onto, this kind of land looks quite soft, if you like. It's nice and runnable, this. You'd kind of turn left before you then get onto the beach. And what I would say is this section from there to approximately there, which is about 300 meters, is on soft sand. So there's not much at all. It's probably this and one other very short section is on some of that sand that's really horrible to run on. So it's kind of slow going, this. It's not very nice, but it's only for about 200 meters, and then it becomes firm again. And You've got to be kind of a little bit careful at this point. I'm not sure if this will be marshalled, but the footpath does actually officially finish just here. And there is a kind of a very obvious curvature round to the right, and there's some signposts. But you could, the beach does continue on, forever. So you could easily just find yourself sort of running down the beach. It's not an official footpath, but beach is a beach. It sort of looks runnable, I suppose. So this is one that will have a nice big sign at, and hopefully we can get a marshal there. And this takes you on my favourite section of the course, which is along the Dunwich River and into these kind of marshes where you're on very flat ground, but you're sort of inland, so it's a lot less windy. And there's lots of nice things to look at. So you're following the Dunwich River for quite a while there. And this is, just following the coastal path. You get a lot more shade at this point. You're a bit more protected in general. And this leads all the way down into Dunwich itself. And Dunwich itself is a lovely, small little village, really. There's not a lot to it, but it's got a lovely little area, a little coastline and beach. And as you kind of come off the trail and kind of into the village here, you're 2/3 of the way into the race. You are, at this church here. They have a car park opposite and have kindly allowed us to have our checkpoint within this church car park. So this is checkpoint 3, and there'll be a marshal sort of situated on the road to make sure that you don't miss this. And then once you've taken your refreshments, continue on past the pub. I think this is called the Ship. There are some public toilets here, so there aren't public toilets at the checkpoint itself. So if you do need the toilet at this point, you could go down there, but it is a very slight detour. And if you do take that detour, make sure you tell any runners behind you not to follow you down into the toilets. They should be, and if I just kind of turn around, you'll see as you sort of go into this, there's a small footpath in there that sort of takes you back into the forest initially. It's actually very obvious when you're there. So then you're back kind of along the coastline for a little bit through kind of this Greyfriars Wood. And this is all very simple in terms of navigation because it's the main path. Once you get over to this part, we're onto National Trust land. So this is National Trust Dunwich Heath. I've actually run a previous race here a few years ago, organised by another company. And I actually remember just here I went wrong. I should have gone left and I went straight on, and rather than taking the 10k run that I was on, I actually joined the marathon runners for about 5k and ended up running a half marathon instead of a 10. So I'm going to have a marshal here because I don't want anyone else to make that same mistake, that you are turning here and going down Dunwich Heath. National Trust land, we've got permission from them, and we're going to have a marshal here in the car park just to get you through there nicely. Again, more public toilets. So if you need the toilet, again, you can just turn right just there and you can go and have a pit stop. There is actually a water tap there as well, just situated on the building next to the toilet. So that is another water stop if you need it, if it's a hot day. Out the other side, so this goes down the hill, and then this is the second point on the route where you get, it's not sand, it's kind of shingle actually. So you get real soft shingle for about another 200 meters just here. So you come out of the trail just here onto shingle for about 200 meters, and then the path firms up once again. And this is onto RSPB Minsmere. So again, I had to get permission from RSPB, but they're completely fine with us. We're making a donation to them. And there's loads of nice birds in this area. So if you're a bird watcher, keep your eyes peeled to the left, to your right. Obviously the sea will always be on your left as you're traveling north to south. And actually the navigation and everything sort of, it's very simple from this point onwards, because you're really just heading south until you get to Sizewell, which you might have seen in the news, is where they've got this big nuclear power centre that they've just commissioned, Sizewell C. So Sizewell A is just here, Sizewell B is active, and Sizewell C is going to be built here, unfortunately, and it's going to... You see a lot of anti-nuclear power signs everywhere here, and it's obviously going to bring a lot of building work to the area. So this is very much an area of interest for the community. And as you approach Sizewell, that's where you hit the last checkpoint for the day, which is 43 kilometres in, just situated on the trail just here. It'll just be a table and a gazebo with some refreshments and things. And then again, there's more public toilets. we'll sign this nice and straightforward, but you don't actually follow this kind of more beach trail just here because it kind of turns into the beach. We follow the official coastal path, which actually meanders kind of this way and is a little bit more inland. And I love this section here. There's some really nice sort of foliage and greenery that you're running through, and it's sort of single track because you can see kind of where it's worn. So you feel like you're going nice and fast at this point, and you know you've only got 7k remaining. So going on south for a fair amount in a straight line until you get to here, where you could actually continue straight on, but it's not the official coastal trail. And again, there are unstable cliffs in this area, which means there's a diversion inland, which takes you kind of very strangely through this area of Thorpe Ness. So again, we are not staying on the coast, but we're going inland following the official coastal trail. It's a really nice section actually. You kind of go inland. This is a nice wide kind of farmer's track, and then you turn off left onto a single track, and then that leads you into this kind of little town of Thorpe Ness. Once you kind of arrive out of there, this is where you sort of hit the main road. We continue left and get you back onto the beach via this path to the back of the car park, because again, the official path for some reason actually takes you through the car park, which isn't particularly nice because it gets quite busy, but this route around the back is much nicer, so it'll be very clearly signed, and it's more obvious actually. When I was there the other day, it feels very unnatural to go this way. You kind of are already on this pavement, so you would see a straight on sign there, a right sign there, probably a marshal, and then once you hit this beach, then you know that you're home and dry, because from there you can see Aldeburgh, you can see where you're going to go, and it is just a straight line along the path down there. It doesn't look particularly clear here actually where you'd run, but when you're there on the ground you can see exactly where the majority of people have run and where you should be. It kind of comes inland slightly, and I mean, obviously if it's a windy day this could feel quite difficult if you've got a bit of a headwind, but obviously we hope you've got a nice tailwind at that point. You keep going straight down past Thorpe Road car park where you may have parked earlier, and you continue onto the tarmac, and we have this amazing finish line. So it doesn't really look that impressive here, but this is a lovely building called Moot Hall, and the council have allowed us to have the finish line just in front of it here, and it's a lovely sort of busy sort of bustling area on a Saturday lunchtime. There'll be loads of people cheering you in, and you can have your supporters situated in this area. I would say that they'll probably be best situated on this grass just here rather than blocking this main path, but please do be considerate because these are all businesses that sell fresh fish throughout the day, so don't block any of their businesses, and please support them if you can. Public toilets just there, so actually as you finish we sort of funnel you into a finish line down these stairs where you'll be given a medal and a few refreshments and things like that, and then you pop out into this, and this is kind of where you can hang out. And then really, what you do from there is completely up to you. There is a pub here, but there's loads of fish and chip places. There's loads of cafes, restaurants, and it's just a lovely place to be as Aldeburgh. Once you need to head back to your car, it's just a short walk. This is about a 5-minute walk back up. And if you do need to get back to Lowestoft, there is no public transport, unfortunately, that can take you back to Lowestoft. There, you could get a bus to sort of Southwold, and a bus from Southwold to Lowestoft, but it's quite cumbersome. So I would recommend, if you're planning to leave your car at the start, then organise a taxi back to the start, or change your plans and park at the finish and take the bus service that we're offering. That is by far the easiest thing to do. So that is the course. As I say, a lot of it at the start is kind of hard ground. The official, if we have a look at the website, I've actually uploaded the official sort of percentages of what the terrain is. So you can see dirt trail 63%, paved tarmac 18%, country lane 17%, sand sort of shingle 2%. So that's the sort of breakdown. And if you want to have a look kind of at the route in more detail now, then I've already uploaded the GPS file, links to it on OS Maps and Garmin, and there's this really nice kind of interactive Google map that you can play around with that actually has all of the different toilet locations, and all of these red marks are actually where we're planning on having marshals. You can sort of see where they might be as well, and just get to know the route. And if you're not used to it, think about how you're gonna, if you've got a decent running watch, Sorry about that. My computer just ran out of memory. I am back. So just to say, yeah, if you haven't done a training run where you've used maybe the GPS navigation on your watch and you've got it, then highly recommend just getting to use that feature. It's a great thing to know how to use just for your training runs and for exploring in general. And just in case someone tampers with our signage on race day, or you miss a sign for whatever reason, you've got a way of getting yourself back on the route. So yeah, that's where all the resources live. Here they are, and any updates, any changes, we'll let you know. But that is the route, and we can't wait to see what you think of it. I've had a great time down there myself, and I think you guys are going to love it. I think it's a really fantastic race, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you down there. So guys, enjoy, and we'll see you in September.